Hello there and welcome to TVS Nightline, where you get to know what's going on in Sarawak, its regions and the world. Here with me, Shosha Metro, and let's get to the headlines. Chief Minister Datuk Patinggi Abang Johari Tun Openg refuted claims that the Sarawak Legislative Assembly will be dissolved tomorrow. The Gabungan Party Sarawak GPS chairman said he does not know when the dissolution will happen, adding that it still depends on the Yang Dipertuan Agong's decision. Abang Johari said it was true His Majesty granted him an audience, but they had only discussed on matters about COVID-19 and the emergency order.
Saya dah ngadap, nanya ini emergency tu. Ya, ajak nanya hal COVID tu. Ya, ajak saya tanya, saya dah apa-apa. Ini saya tahu, bukan kuasa saya. Ya, kuasa Agong. Punya kata Pilihan Raya lah. Bukan kuasa saya. I cannot tell you secara terperinci lah.
The state emergency order will expire on February 2, 2022. Earlier today, the Chief Minister's office in a press statement stated that no such meeting by the Chief Minister was scheduled to happen today or tomorrow regarding the dissolution of the Sarawak Legislative Assembly. Abang Johari said all the state assemblymen were only focused on delivering their services to the people at their own respective constituency. The Satro assemblyman said the future of the state will be determined by the people.
Politik kita mestilah stabil, kita tumpukan kepada pembangunan perancangan kita hingga tahun 2030. Jadi, so dekat nak bedak membunyi macam-macam lah cerita. Saya serah kepada kita untuk menilai. Bukan saya, negeri kita. Dan negeri ditentukan oleh rakyat, kepada rakyat itu. Kita maha negeri kita, saya sibuk maju. Pula mana kita? Saya sudah umur, dia selama lagi pergi kubur. Artinya, pimpinan akan bertukar ganti.
And Parti Pesaka Bumi Putra Bersatu PBB has identified its candidates for the 12th Sarawak state election, said its Secretary General Dato Sri Alexander Nantalinggi today. He said the names had been submitted to Gabungan Party Sarawak GPS chairman Datuk Patinggi Abang Johari Tun Openg, who is also PPP president and Sarawak chief minister. The other component parties of GPS are Parti Rakyat Sarawak (PRS), Progressive Democratic Party (PDP), and Sarawak United People's Party (SUPP). Nanta, who is also Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs Minister, said GPS had gotten ready for the Sarawak state election since last year, as it should be held in 2020, but it did not happen due to the COVID-19 pandemic. On the seats of the two assemblymen from Bersatu, Nanta said the matter had not been discussed and they were still waiting for Abang Johari's decision on this. PBB Vice President Dato Sri Abdul Karim Rahman Hamzah does not deny the possibility that the State Legislative Assembly will be dissolved soon. Although the country is still facing the COVID-19 pandemic, he believes the government can manage it, adding that it is time to give back the mandate to the people.
Apa yang dirasai oleh pihak media itu juga dirasai oleh kami. Kami dapat merasa pahamnya sudah agak dekat. Kemungkinan dalam sehari dua kita akan mendengar berita-berita berkenaan dengan pembubaran dan sebagainya. Kita dah dapat mengawal COVID ini dengan baik, sehingga kalau kita lihat walaupun kesnya nampak banyak, 98%, 99% adalah positif yang tidak ada simptom.
Meanwhile, the Fire and Rescue Department, or BOMBA, will establish a special water and rescue team in Sarawak as part of its campaign to address deaths caused by drowning, of which Sarawak is a major contributor to the statistics in the country.
That is why we also forming what we call as a special water Water Rescue Team, SWAT, SWART. And that one is already a success story in East Coast, in Semenanjung, in the area of Kedah and also Terengganu. Since Sarawak, we have a lot of water body, river, lakes, sea, and even the whatever irrigation system. So we will also focus in Sarawak. But Sarawak will be very new. We are looking at the hotspot because like flood area and also drowning, we have hotspot and we have we call it high risk spot and medium risk spot. High risk spot means, according to United Nations, 5 deaths at the same area within 2 or 3 years. That means the frequency of drowning in that area is very high. So that is where we identified as a hotspot of high risk. The medium is less than 5, but more than 2. Cases of death. It's not matter of drowning, it's death. For Bomba, we recorded around 400 to 450 to 500 deaths per year because of drowning. That is because Bomba respond. There are some cases Bomba didn't respond because it's already been rescued or recovered by the villagers or by other agencies, and it is not within our data. So our data alone is about 4 to 5 times of a victim in fire. So it's a very serious.
Hamdan added, Bomba is in the midst of identifying hotspots for drowning in the state before establishing SWART.
And Sarawak contribute one of the big data there, of the statistic there.
The whole Malaysia.
In the whole Malaysia. So they have quite a number of hotspots. Sarawak, they have rivers, like I mentioned. There are a lot of water bodies, and these water bodies are quite high risk, especially to school children, especially to those who are mungkin warga mas. We identified the hotspot. When they go for recreational activities, for instance, for picnics, and also for some of the leisure they're doing, the hotspots seldom cost them much. So there are spots that we never identified. That is where the drowning to happen, because people like to go away from the crowd. Because if PD, Port Dickson, this is the hotspot. Memang pantai cantik, memang ramai orang datang. Tetapi some of them, they would go to the most isolated, exotic one, nobody knows. That is where they have some quicksand, for instance. They have a very stiff churun, and a very dangerous undercurrent wave that can simply suck them. So that's happened quite a number. That is why we say when you do your patrolling, going to the hotspot, make sure you don't avoid the soft spot, because sometimes the soft spot is also a place where people like to do their water activities.
And now on to the next update. In an effort to improve community safety and build a community free from danger and threats, the Malaysian Fire and Rescue Department, JPPM, took a rather different approach by collaborating with the local communities. Malaysia Fire and Rescue Director General Dato Sri Muhammad Hamdan Haji Wahid said the approach was made as some villages are inaccessible or far from the fire stations.
Only thing unique about Sarawak is the uniqueness in terms of topography and also geography. Because we have 36 fire stations, we cannot cover each and every inch of the state. But however, we are working together with the volunteer services. We are working with the community through our community empowerment. Supaya apabila kita mendayakan community lagi lebih berwaspada. Keduanya boleh melaksanakan apa-apa persediaan pencegahan. Ketiganya, mereka juga boleh menjadi first responder. sebelum bomba nak sampai, because in some part of the states is very far from the service of fire and rescue department. Our fire station was probably located about 40 and 50 or 60 kilometers away from the village. So kita tubuhkan pasukan bomba community di tempat-tempat tersebut supaya mereka ini akan menjadi mata dan telinga kepada kerajaan dan juga agensi kecemasan. Sebelum emergency service coming, they actually already had response.
Hamdan added, JBPM will form a mountain cave search and rescue team called Moksar and appoint local rangers and tourist guides as the Bomba's auxiliary fire officer.
Esok kita akan pergi ke Kawasan Mulu, penubuhan Moksar, Mountain and Cave Search and Rescue, MOCSAR, actually Mountain, Cave, Search and Rescue. We appoint the local tourist guide there as our bomber auxiliary fire officer, where we pay them the allowance and so on. They are specialized in these terrains. They know the habitat very well. If bomba datang pun need the guide to show dia punya environments and also all those terrains. But since they already become the master of the terrains, we provide them training. We certify them. We provide them the PPE, personal protective equipment, and also we provide some basic equipment to handle any kind of incident, and they can also become the firefighters. In time things to happen there, they will turn themselves to become rescuer. So this will at least mitigate at earlier stage. And bomber need time to come over that side.
Art in the City kini kembali membawa inspirasi, tenaga dan sinar kepada Malaysia. Cendana telah mencipta pelbagai acara bagi membantu membawa rakyat untuk lebih dekat antara satu sama lain melalui seni. Mari berdansa, menyanyi, belajar dan raih inspirasi dari bakat-bakat besar seni Malaysia.
Afif itu terkesan berkuasa di rumah. Dan kamu gak ada apa-apa.
Radit cuba untuk menghasut Rena bahawa Afif lebih berkuasa sehingga Rena tidak mempunyai apa-apa hak. Kata-kata Afif dan Reno tidak dipedulikan. Adakah Rena akhirnya sedar akan kejahatan Radit? Saksikan Semua Indah Kerana Cinta setiap Isnin hingga Jumaat 4.15 petang hanya di TVS saluran 122 Astro dan My TV.
Polis tidak akan berfiksin items kerana bak kandang menua pesungguh bantu ina sejauh yang merestang terutama di kawasan ujung ina的到来 Pada caranya Indonesia and Malaysia.
Meskipun reda dengan
Assalamualaikum dan salam sejahtera.
Warnailah hidupmu, tampilkanlah bakat baru. Sarawak pasti maju, menginspirasi duniamu.
Servis Sarawak merupakan model penyampaian perkhidmatan baru kerajaan negeri dalam usaha untuk menyampaikan perkhidmatan cemerlang kepada rakyat Sarawak. Ia telah dirasmikan oleh Ketua Menteri Sarawak Yang Amat Berhormat Datuk Patinggi Abang Johari Tun Openg pada 2 Disember 2018. Setakat ini, 3 pusat perkhidmatan servis Sarawak telah dilaksanakan iaitu di Kuching, Sibu dan Miri. Kepelbagaian saluran perkhidmatan seperti khidmat kaunter, portal rasmi, aplikasi telefon pintar dan e-kios memudahkan rakyat dalam dalam membuat pilihan pembayaran. Servis rawat ini berkonsepkan No Wrong Counter yang menawarkan gabungan perkhidmatan pelbagai agensi di Sarawak dalam sesebuah kaunter perkhidmatan. Berteraskan mesra pelanggan, servis rawat diharapkan dapat menjadi saluran perkhidmatan yang mampu memenuhi kehendak serta keperluan rakyat di Sarawak.
Welcome back. Now, Malaysia has registered a total of 6,210 new COVID-19 cases detected in the last 24 hours. This takes the total number of infections to 2,413,592 since the start of the pandemic. Meanwhile, the number of new COVID-19 cases in Sarawak remained below four figures for 5 consecutive days, when 725 cases were reported today. And a total of 94.2% or 22,047,448 of the adult population in Malaysia has completed their COVID-19 vaccination as of yesterday.
Based on the Health Ministry's data on the COVID Now portal, 97.3% of the adult population, or 22,775,864 individuals, have received at least one dose of the vaccine. On Wednesday, a total of 256,497 doses of the vaccine were dispensed, involving both the adult and the adolescent populations. This brings the total number of doses administered under the National COVID-19 Immunization Program PICK since February 24th to 48,437,608. As for teenagers aged 12 to 17 years, a total of 1,218,000 individuals, or 38.7% of them, have completed the vaccination, while 79.7% or 23,509,535 others have received at least the first dose of the vaccine since the PICK program for the group was launched on September 8.
On the other hand, the National Disaster Risk Reduction Policy being formulated by the National Disaster Management Agency can strengthen management and intensify the nation's disaster risk preparedness.
Prime Minister Dato Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said, apart from improving the understanding of disaster risk, the policy could also help increase investment in disaster risk reduction initiatives in terms of human resource capacity, institutional empowerment, expansion of mitigation measures, and technology applications. Commenting further, Ismail Sabri said the NRR was a good effort towards making Malaysian families aware of disaster management being undertaken in the country, the types of existing disasters, and follow-up actions that could be used as a reference. Apart from that, the document can also be used for the purpose of planning and mapping studies, monitoring, early forecasting systems, prevention, mitigation, and risk reduction strategies.
The Ministry of Health, MOH, has taken the approach of not allowing anti-vaccine groups to enjoy certain freedoms given to fully vaccinated individuals. The restricted freedom was only aimed at those who refused to receive the COVID-19 vaccination. Health Minister Khairi Jamaluddin said there were two groups that should be differentiated, namely those who were unable to receive vaccinations due to health problems and those who refused to get vaccinated. Therefore, Khairi hoped that with the restrictions, it would be more prudent than using laws to force the group to take vaccines. Meanwhile, on the proposal for a special vaccination card for the Orang Asli community, Khairi said there was no need for it because the existing vaccination card was a proof that they have been fully vaccinated against COVID-19. And Health Minister Khairi Jamaluddin has called for stricter enforcement against smoking at food premises. This is in line with the Control of Tobacco Product Amendment Regulations 2018. Through his tweet on his Twitter account today, Khairi said he had yesterday ordered the relevant enforcement authority to do so. The smoking prohibition at all food premises under the Control of Tobacco Product Amendment Regulations 2018 is effective since January 1, 2020. In another development, entrepreneurs in the Islamic tourist industry must enhance their understanding of halal aspects in order to develop unique selling points for their respective tourism products. Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture, Dato Sri Nancy Shukri said this would also give the assurance that their products were not contravening the Islamic tenets.
Dato Sri Nancy Shukri also encouraged cooperation between the Islamic Tourism Centre or ITC and Departments of Standards Malaysia in drawing up clear guidelines and standards pertaining to Islamic tourism products and services. This is to attract more entrepreneurs to venture into the Islamic tourism segment. The minister said the scope of Islamic tourism is wide, covering Muslim-friendly products and services, hospitality and accommodation, but the centering into this is still at an early stage, hence the need to expose entrepreneurs to the new business opportunities.
Rezeki Tuhan, sikit tanah.
Santex Komersial merupakan badan berkaitan kerajaan atau GLC di bawah naungan kerajaan negeri yang menjadi pemacu pengkomersialan produk Sarawak Heritage serta Digital Products di Sarawak. Inisiatif ke-12 daripada 81 inisiatif Ketua Menteri Sarawak ini diambil bagi membantu pelajar Santex serta komuniti setempat untuk memasarkan produk mereka pada peringkat domestik maupun peringkat antarabangsa. Santex Komersial mempromosikan produk fizikal serta perkhidmatan yang terbahagi kepada bidang teknikal dan bidang digital. Perkhidmatan dalam bidang teknikal menyediakan kemahiran pengelektrikan, kecantikan, pemotongan rambut dan sebagainya yang turut dikomersialkan melalui aplikasi Sarawak Expert. Satu ekosistem lengkap yang bermula daripada latihan hingga kepada proses penjanaan pendapatan dapat dicapai dengan adanya Santex Komersial yang diwujudkan oleh Kerajaan Negeri Sarawak.
Thank you for staying with me. Now, the United States, US, is contributing an additional $800,000 in COVID-19 assistance to Malaysia this month to help the country's efforts in vaccinating hard-to-reach and vulnerable communities. According to a statement by the US Embassy in Kuala Lumpur on Thursday, the assistance will also be used to support safe quarantine facilities for these communities, besides assisting in the protection of Malaysia from the virus and help to keep Malaysia's economic recovery moving forward.
The embassy said the Malaysian Red Crescent Society, MRCS, will be implementing the assistance in Malaysia. It added that U.S. Ambassador to Malaysia Brian D. McFeetis, in a meeting with MRCS National Chairperson and Tunku Temenggung Kedah Tan Sri Tunku Putri Intan Safinas Almarhum Sultan Abdul Halim Muazzam Shah, and its Secretary General Hakim Hamzah thanked the organization for its ongoing work to support Malaysia's effort against COVID-19. This additional assistance builds on more than $2 million in COVID-19 assistance from the United States to Malaysia since the pandemic first began. On July 5th, the U.S. donated 1 million Pfizer vaccine to Malaysia and also donated medical supplies, COVID-19 test kits, ambulances, and more. The U.S. Embassy expressed that the United States is committed to partnering with Malaysia to end the COVID-19 pandemic, mitigate its devastating social and economic impacts, and build back a world that is even better prepared for future outbreaks.
In Iraq's northern province of Dohak, Amin Abdul Sattar shares his home with more than 70 snakes. Sattar uses the snake skins to produce traditional remedies that he gives out for free.
ومن إنون كرنات كابسولو دو من ببرون باردونا خالكاكي بو بواسيرو داخلي يون بو قولنه يون بو معيداي أوجل صادو نوتو بنش.
His snakes shed their skins every year in the autumn months of October and November, which Sattar then collects and compresses into small capsules. According to him, when injected, the snake skin capsules act as a natural remedies to hemorrhoids, problem of the colon and other stomach diseases. But Sattar's passion for snakes does not only come from what he believes are their cure capacities. He respects the reptiles as animals and believes they should be preserved as opposed to killed.
Let's wrap up the Nightline with this highlight. Netflix global sensation Squid Game helped lure more new customers than expected, the world's largest streaming service said on Tuesday, as it predicted a packed lineup would further boost sign-ups through the end of the year.
After a sharp slowdown in the first half of 2021, Netflix added 4.38 million subscribers from July through September to reach 213.6 million worldwide. Then, South Korean drama Squid Game debuted on September 17 and surprised executives by becoming the streaming service's most watched original series in its first month. On Tuesday, Netflix said a mind-boggling 142 million households had watched the dark drama about people who compete in a deadly competition to erase financial debt.
And that feature concludes TVS Nightline for tonight. And as always, thank you for tuning in to your local news tonight. Here with me, Shosha Metro, and I'll see you next time. Have a good morning.